A few days after the executions, some of the animals recall that the sixth commandment forbids killing other animals. Clover, feeling uneasy about the recent bloodshed, asks Benjamin to read the commandment, but he refuses. Muriel reads it aloud, and to their surprise, it now reads, "No animal shall kill any other animal without cause." The animals accept this, believing they must have misremembered the original wording. Despite their unease, the animals work harder than ever, balancing regular farm tasks with the construction of the windmill. Squealer reads out statistics to convince them that the productivity has increased by as much as 500%, though the animals are often left hungry. Napoleon, now rarely seen in public, surrounds himself with dogs and the black rooster that trumpets his arrival. His cult of personality grows, with titles such as Father of all animals and Protector of the sheepfold bestowed upon him. And a poem written by Minimus glorifies his leadership. This is painted on the barn alongside a portrait of Napoleon.
Right. Yes, continue, Sante.
Napoleon's negotiations with Mr. Frederick and Mr. Pilkington about the sale of timber continue, but tensions rise as rumors of snowball sabotage persist. Napoleon eventually sells the timber to Mr. Frederick, but soon after it is revealed that the banknotes he received in payment are forgeries. Enraged, Napoleon declares Mr. Frederick as an enemy, and shortly after, Mr. Frederick and his men launch an attack on Animal Farm, destroying the windmill with explosives. Though the animals fight valiantly and eventually drive off the attackers, they are left devastated by the destruction of the windmill. Nevertheless, Napoleon spins the event as a victory, and the animals, worn out from the battle, reluctantly agree.
Thank you, Zante. I ask you to read more often. So we see that it's not just manipulation of history, no, but it's also manipulation of the present. How are you gonna tell these animals that production is up by 500%? Yet they're still hungry. Like, where's all this food that we're producing? Where's all this productivity? Where's everything? So the idea is they're being convinced, yes, things are good, things are better, we're doing well. But their reality contradicts that. Which one do you think they believe? What they're seeing with their eyes, what they're feeling, or what is said to them? They're believing what is said to them. They have grown to rely so much on Squealer's words that Squealer's words can literally shape reality in their minds. Right? This is how brainwashing works. You look at the blue sky and someone tells you that it's red, and all of a sudden it seems red to you. That's the power of Squealer's brainwashing. Right? And of course, know that they see the without cause. We know that this was added just to justify Napoleon's murders. They can no longer really understand that or remember that this was just added like yesterday. They doubt themselves. They're thinking, well, it must be my fault. I must have gotten it wrong all along. They're so brainwashed that they can no longer trust their own eyes, their own memories, their own senses, their own feelings. It's like they're brainwashed to the point where they have to ask, what should I feel today? Should I feel happy or sad? You can't even feel without permission, right? The brainwashing has reached the ultimate level, right? We see dealings with humans continuing. Sabotage happening. Snowball getting tricked. The windmill being destroyed yet again. just driving home the point that this future that you think you're working on is not coming. That future is not going to happen. Forget it. And even though the battle was a clear loss, Napoleon finds a way to convince them that they actually won the battle. And they believe. Yeah. Very interesting chapter. Yeah. Look at this quote here. What is the gun firing for? Boxer said. To celebrate our victory, Squealer cried Squealer. What victory? Said Boxer. So this is a nice little piece of dialogue from that conversation where Squealer convinces the animals that fight, we just won it. We didn't lose. We won. Yeah. So we see that when the propaganda arrives, it's first met with confusion and skepticism, but very soon after, that skepticism is removed and the brainwashing takes place. Yeah. Anything else that you guys want to comment on, point out, ask about?
Excuse me, sir. Well,
Yes.
ironically, all governments act like that.
What do you mean, Varus?
Well, they have a way of contorting truth, secret that, well, technically, it's like let's say, like for example, in the novella, they state that, well, it's victorious, as opposed to the truth is that the windmill is gone, our hard work has gone to vain. And about the 500%, where is this 500% coming from? And I believe it's that they did that. The pigs did that to continue to boost morale and continue to work for them under subservience.
Yeah, that's very true. So there's this in psychology there's a term for it, the cognitive dissonance, right? Because in one sense they are experiencing poverty and lack and need, but in another sense they allow themselves to believe that things are good, things are productive, we're doing well, the numbers are high, but they can't quite make the connection that these high numbers aren't really adding up to what we are experiencing. As you mentioned, Lars, where's the 500%? We should be bathing in milk. We should be stoning. We should be throwing apples all over the place. We should be so rich. But we're still hungry. So where's the 500%? So they're being convinced that things are good, yet there's no evidence of that wealth in their daily lives. And this is, I don't know, the ultimate form of stupidity. How can you be so gullible that someone can tell you that you're rich even when you're poor and you believe them?
Yeah,
But
it's like that.
yeah. And we have to, even though I keep calling the animals stupid, we have to be careful of how critical we are of them, because this entire novella is really a critique on society. Even though it was written a long time ago, it doesn't fall flat even today. And the idea is, are we gullible enough to simply believe what our leaders say, even without seeing evidence of it? And unfortunately, the answer is often yes, because who has time to check evidence for everything? Who has time to do their own research, right? And so we end up just believing what we see on the news, what we read, what the campaigners say when it's election time. We just believe things because, well, Napoleon said it, so it must be true. And even when what they say don't align with what we can see with our eyes, we still choose to believe them because the language is so it's just wonderful language. It excites our souls. It's so persuasive. And so we believe the madness, not recognizing that it's in complete contradiction of our experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, sir.
Yeah.
Even my entire household is, well, basically we're all Benjamins, but yet we are pride that if we see something, we see might, get ourselves killed.
Well, it's better to be a Benjamin than a boxer, to be honest. I would rather be a Benjamin because at least um you're not gullible. I mean, Benjamin has his own fault, but what is so shocking about this novella is the increasing gullibility or gullibleness. What noun should I use? It's the increasing stupidity of the animals. And the dramatic irony for me is one of the it's one of the it's one of the best devices used in this novella. Because things are so clear to us the readers. Right? We can see so easily that the animals are being tricked, they're being brainwashed, they are, they're being taken for a ride. But the animals can't see it. They're so blinded by the loyalty, right? They're so blinded by all of the wonderful vocabulary and enthusiasm and zeal and vigor of Squealer that they can't connect the dots on their own. And the only person who can connect the dots, Benjamin, he has no interest in even talking about it because he has become very cynical over time. He believes that, well, yeah, I know this is crap. I know this is crazy. But my words won't change anything, so I might as well just play along with it. Of course, he eventually regrets that when Boxer meets his end. But that's just it. It's what do you do? Do you speak up and then get executed? Or do you just keep yourself to yourself? Or do you believe the madness like the sheep? The novel isn't really presenting a good option. The novel isn't presenting a clear way out, right? You're either like Benjamin, where you suppress your knowledge of the truth for self-preservation, right? Or you're like Boxer, who eventually gets convinced that things are what they're not. Or you're like the people who confessed whether or not they committed crimes, but they ended up dying. So what do you do, right? What do you do? That's the question.
Well, excuse me, sir. Isn't the fact that George Orwell makes it clear that that he separates society into three categories. Like, for example, or like different categories, like the boxers, the sheep, the Benjamins, and well, the pigs. Or just like this idea of like Benjamins, boxers, and the sheep, to name a few. So,
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. Yeah. We see the class separation, not just classes, but the different roles that we play. Right? Because even in the lower class, there's still different distinctions and different roles being played by different. The animals are more caricatures than characters, right? They really represent that type of person, right? That type of person. So Benjamin is a type of individual. So we'll find many Benjamins in the world. We'll find many pigs, many sheep. Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. The story is really it's spiraling downwards, right? Chapter 8 here. Mm-hmm. And we'll continue to see this theme. It it's gonna keep coming up, right? The manipulation of memory and truth, especially in the changing of the commandments. Cult of personality. This is an interesting. I don't know if the phrasing is very clear, but when we begin to idealize a leader to the point where we no longer see them as a fallible human being, but we see them as this pinnacle, right? They become elevated past humanity. A lot of people do this with the American presidents. A lot of people do this, and they become so attached to the idea of a particular president that it's almost like they're seen as a god, right? The grand titles, the glorification, the statues being made, all the propaganda nowadays, social media helps out with that from time to time, and you sort of forget, and it's a part of celebrity culture as well, not just um in politics, but we tend to forget that celebrities are people, right? And so we have them on this kind of pedestal, so much so that these celebrities have their own cults. Don't even talk about the Swifties. If you know about Taylor Swift, these people will kill and die for Taylor Swift in literal terms, right? They're so glorified and put on such high pedestals that they're no longer humans. Napoleon is no longer just an animal. Napoleon has ascended into almost godhood, right? And we see Minimus being another character that's becoming more and more important. Minimus is the one, he writes the poems and stuff like that. So Napoleon is being exalted not just on a political level, but almost on a spiritual level. Like, oh, Napoleon. And he's becoming less visible outside. You rarely see Napoleon. It's almost like the king now. When I talk about royalty and the crowds, they will come out to take photos when the queen, or I guess when the king nowadays is being seen, right? And so because of that now, Napoleon is being viewed as indispensable. We can't do without the holy Napoleon, right? More than just a man. That's the kind of regard that they have for Napoleon now, which is so dangerous, isn't it? Yeah. So Napoleon's character continues to develop as a tyrannical leader. And we continue to see all of the manipulation, his growing indulgence in luxuries. And guess what? His increasing separation from the other animals reveal his full transformation into a corrupt leader, indistinguishable from the humans he once opposed. At this point in the story, there's no difference. There's no difference between Napoleon and Mr. Jones. There's no difference. In fact, you could argue that he's become worse than Mr. Jones, right? We have Boxer still doing his thing, still pushing himself to work hard, despite not getting anything in return. We still have the propagandist Squealer, still central to the story. He's used to really justify everything that Napoleon does and cast all blame on what's his name? On Snowball. Yeah. We continue with these three key devices. Throughout the novel, we'll see these devices come up chapter after chapter after chapter. Yeah. Yeah, maybe the biggest irony of this chapter was the destruction of the windmill is actually celebrated. What? How are we going to celebrate? How are we going to call this a victory when all our hard work has again been destroyed? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and nothing really new here. Yeah, nothing really new here.